Hi, I'm Remy, and I stream TFT on Twitch, and I wanted to talk about the 5 lines and some of the more niche lines that I take to climb in TFT. Yep. So to first start it off, well, to the surprise of no one, we're gonna start it off with Heartsteel. This composition is just only playable if you have like the Heartsteel units early game. Yeah. You pivot into this on 4-2. 4-2 is perfectly cashed out for if you have Heartsteel in 2-1 or on 2-5. It's a perfect cash out interval. And so what you're looking for is Zed and Ezreal. Best headliner is of course Ezreal, Heartsteel Ezreal. And yeah, you want to be building 80 items for them. Yeah, and this is like how you cap out your board is so the core that you play around is Set, Ezreal, Zed, Yone, and the rest is whatever you want to put in. So here I've put in a variation where I put in Jazz because you can fit quite a few traits in it. Illaoi, of course, is always a very good frontliner, but of course you can also play something like Zac, Poppy, because you have a set right as a front. Like, let's say you have a big shot Ezreal, then you can drop the Bard. You can play like I know a lot of people don't like Jhin, but you can play a Jhin, especially you have like a Shojin, a blue buff, stuff like that, right? And you can also drop the Aphelios, so you're down to 3 Heartsteel. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. This is perfect. This is beautiful. And this is probably gonna win you out a lobby, right? Poppy is a very, very strong headliner. When you're rolling down, let's say you don't hit the headliner chosen, and you hit Emo Poppy, just itemize her. She's really strong and she will deal a lot of damage. She converts a lot of health into AD. So stuff that she likes is like you can give her something like um, let's say something like this. She'll deal a lot of damage and she'll be very tanky. Another itemization you can go is this. Or you can just go full tank items. Let's say you have Warmogs, Declaw, and Bramble. This is still going to be a very good Poppy. Poppy just takes whatever items you have and she'll kick ass with it. Yeah. In this case, maybe you don't go for the Zed. You can do this. Let's say you play Aphelios, so for the Jazz value, you put in Bard back. Where's Bard? Jazz, Bard. Here. And now you can add one more. Let's say you have AP items, you can add a Ziggs. That's 2 more traits. If not, let's say you feel like you're lacking frontline. Let's say you have like a Illaoi. Let's say you don't have a Illaoi 2, you just have a Illaoi 1, and you feel like you don't have enough frontline. I guarantee you this is enough frontline, but you feel you don't have enough frontline. You can play a Yorick, you can play a random Thresh, you can play anything really. You can play a Zac, not a Zac, Zed, a Zac 2. Sure, that's 3 Bruiser. Insert 3 Bruiser joke, but like that's perfectly fine. And here you have a very strong composition. Yeah. Like support items that you use quite well. Like you kind of use any support item well, except maybe Banshees, right? Like Aegis is really good. You just, I mean, at this point, Ezreal. So Ezreal just moves around, so you can even third line him, and you can just put in the non. Okay, I shouldn't be cursing, but you can say the non-shitters. You can play the non-shitters in this core. You can even do this. Say Miss Fortune's not doing any damage. She's just there for the Jazz. Then you can just play her like that. But yeah, Aegis is really good, and you often get it. Like this is fine. Virtue of the Martyr is fine. Needless Large Random is fine. This, just group it. Probably not this, but yeah. Also, you can probably like second line Bard and Aphelios. They're not real units, so yeah. Maybe a third line Aphelios because he still deals like a bit of CC, and that's useful. Anyways, you're continuously getting hard seal cash outs, and with the hard seal cash outs, you're just juicing up your board over and over and over again until no one literally can catch up to you. Yeah. Then now we're gonna go to the second line that I play a lot, which is the Spellweaver lines. When I say Spellweaver lines, you've got 1 cost reroll, 2 cost reroll, 3 cost reroll, Ari, so 4 cost reroll, and then I have it as another line. But if you have AD items, you can play something called Ari Warriors, but we'll talk about it later. So first of all, the 1 cost reroll. This is only if you have like 3 to 4 Annies without an Annie headliner, or you have an Annie headliner and you have like 3, and like you have like 2 to 3 Annies with Emo Annie. Keep in mind, Emo Annie is 10 times better than Spellweaver Ari. Annie. Sorry, I messed up. And yeah, and you mostly, because it just allows you to not play like emo units, and you can just go into the vertical and just cap out. This is like the fully capped out board. Like you see a Sona and Laui on your board. Like yeah, this is just gonna be the cap. Of course, you're gonna be looking for like Gwinsus and stuff. You need Shred and anti-heal. So you need to go for the, I mean, it doesn't have to be Sunfire, but you need to go for anti-heal, and you want to have Shred in the form of an Ionic. You do not want to put Shiv on anyone. Shiv kind of sucks. I mean, it doesn't suck, but it's not as much tempo as Ionic early game, or Ionic Slam early game. So you just want to go Ionic Slam early game. Yeah. And yeah, mostly you'll be playing around a Superfan core, like the core that you often see here, the Nico, Lilia, Kennen, Echo, and then you transfer over to this. 7 Spellweaver is not to be left out. You get 3 AP per cast and you get 70. So like this just allows you to scale the hardest. Sona. In terms of Sona, this is going to be true for most other comps. But you want to start with attack speed Sona, and you want to start with attack speed Sona, and once you 2-star her, you want to take her out, put her back in, and change over to damage Sona. Damage Sona has been buffed a lot, and she will be the one outputting the most damage once you get her 2-star. Like, she'll be doing more damage than Annie, more damage than Ari. The secondary carry you itemize is you have a Gwinsu on a Lulu that you switch over to Sona later, but other than that, you itemize the Ari, which is always going to be Nashor's blue buff Nashor's and Gumblade. But you can also you can just put any AP item on her. She'll do perfectly fine. Annie is your main carry. Blue buff Nashor's, and then so JG is our Superman item, but the last item can be anything. It can be like Winsu, it can be Nashor's. Just slam whatever for tempo. She'll do perfectly fine with it. You just want to be able to streak stage 3, stage 4, so that you can cap out around 9 with Sona, Ilaoi, and the likes. Yeah. Okay, I'm waffling. I'll try to be faster. That's fine. Seraphine reroll. Seraphine reroll, once again, just slam whatever items. KDA Seraphine and Spellweaver Seraphine are both playable. If you have KDA Seraphine, then you might want to play around 7 KDA. So you might drop, I mean, I put a Sona in, but realistically, you're not hitting Sona on 8. So you can play something like this, yeah, like a 7 Spellweaver. Secondary item carrier is your Ari. And yeah, Seraphine is really good because she punishes clumps. And well, she just outputs a lot of damage, very simply. Yeah. It's like, but yeah, oh yeah, I forgot to say, one cost reroll, you reroll on level 4, so on 3-1, if you have 7 Annies on 3-1, then you can roll if you have and on like and see if you hit Annies and until 30 gold. If you're not hitting any Annies, then you can econ back up to slow roll on 5. That's how you don't want to fuck up your econ fully, right? But yeah, that's how you want to do it. For two cost rerolls, you want to roll on 6. Let's say you're hitting like if you have like 3 Seraphines already without a headliner, and then you find a headliner Seraphine, then you might want to think about going for Seraphine 3. However, don't tunnel on it. You don't have to like see, okay, I have 6 Seraphines, so I'm just gonna go Seraphine reroll. If you're not hitting naturally, you can just switch over to a normal Ahri board, you know? You can just play around Ahri. You can have a Seraphine as the item carrier for Ahri. So don't stress out too much and don't lock in. Especially this set, you have to be flexible. Don't lock into like, I am going to play this and screw over your econ fully. So yeah. Next is Lulu. So Lulu is a little bit more spot tip specific, but yeah, this patch Lulu got a lot of buffs. She was already really decently good in like last patch, but underplayed, and she got a lot of buffs through the hyper pop buff and also her third cast buff. So once again, you're playing around the Superfan core. Of course, you can drop out of it to cap out with like Ilaoi and such, but originally, you're playing with the Superfan core. Her Superfan item is a Shojin. And what you want to do is you want to have Lulu feeding mana to each other. So, for example, things that work very well with Lulu is Twin Terror. It's also Hologram. Hologram, you're going to have a second 3-star. Where is Hologram? 3 seconds. Wait a minute. Am I blind? Where's Hologram? Oh, here's Hologram. Yeah, you're gonna have a second 3-star Lulu that feeds mana to each other. And later on with Ziggs as well. So you're just gonna have an infinite casting Lulu loop of Hyperpop. Until you find Ziggs, you want to put Ahri, or if you high roll Sona, you can put the Sona as well into the loop so that they feed to each other plus the Sona, right? And yeah, you can have something like this. Until you find Lulu 3, you can also even play a third Lulu. And just have the 3 Lulus like feeding each other, right? That's also a perfectly fine way of doing it. Lulu likes Shojin, likes blue buff. You just want to have her infinite casting. And the rest, like Spellweaver is gonna ramp up. Like, yeah, Spellweaver is going to ramp up her damage, but, I mean, you could always go with stuff like GS. I mean, JG's okay. Any AP item is fine. Just go for one item at least with one item other than the Superfan Shojin as a, how do you call it? Mana generation, so that you get into infinite casting loop. Yep. Okay, next one is Ahri. One of the Ahri things that you can play is, of course, you could play the 7 KDA, right? So that's just playing this, but with Ahri as your main carry, that's fine too. But there's another one that you might know from 2 patches ago, which is the Sentinel Ahri board. Be warned though, you will only win out if you can go 9 and actually hit Sona, and hit Sona. Yeah. So for the Sentinel Ahri board, you want to have a Sentinel chosen, Blitzcrank. For example, you can go this if you already natural that Ahri 2, not natural, but like you were rolling down and you already had an RE2, and you hit a Blitzcrank chosen, or even an Echo chosen, or a Mordekaiser chosen, just a Sentinel chosen, and then you can play for this. This just gives you so much tankiness, so much sustain on your team. However, your items are kind of non-negotiable. They are just simply this. And if you get a Sona, she just ramps up your Ari so much that she just Ari just 1v9s. Yep. Nothing much more to say. Oh yeah, Shred is mandatory. Please, please, please get Shred. Blitzcrank items can be stuff like Warmogs. You're already getting a lot of base stats from like base armor and magic resist from Sentinels, so you're getting 110. So Warmogs, Redemption, Steadfast, items like that give you damage reduction are very good on Blitzcrank. But yeah, you don't have to focus too much on tank items. Focus on RE items. Get Biss. Biss is best in slot. You need to get blue buff Nashor's Gunblade. Like, if you really are like can't find Nashor's, you can do something like blue buff, red buff. But you don't want to stray away too much of it, too much away from it. Where's Nashor's? And like, sure, you could use Shojin, but then again, that's way worse. So I just recommend this more. Okay, the next line, like official line that we have is Ari Warrior. So it's Ari, once again with the AP items, and then you add whichever one of these four that you hit on the 4-2 roll down. Let's say you hit Crowd Diver Z, then you can play like Evelyn and better Crowd Divers. You can say Yone, Hyrule Kiana, just play that. Don't Hyrule Kiana, you can play Katarina, and then you can just play your AD items on Zed, right? That's one way with Zed. With Viego, let's say you hit Edgelord Viego, then you can play something like, I mean, sure, of course you can play Kane, right? But like, you can just play Yone, and yeah, that's your level A board, right? You can play, if you have Pentakill Viego, you can maybe drop the Echo, play a Mordekaiser, and yeah, that's like, and then you have a +1. Let's say you go Spellweaver, I mean, let's say you have a Gargusi, you can play Gargusi. You Hyrule Sona, you can play the Sona. Yeah, this is perfectly fine. Okay, next is Akali. So, like, as you can see, this is just like, you're just playing whatever AD frontliner you hit. And then you can play it. So the Akali, you can fit it out with KDA. Where's KDA? I mean, sure, Kaisa. Let's say you have a Kaisa headliner, then you can play Kaisa, and you replace the Lulu, and you play Seraphine, and you have 7 KDA. Let's say you have the Executioner, then you drop the I mean, Seraphine's fine. You drop this, and you have you play and you can play like 3 Executioner or something. Of course, later on you want to drop these, but like super fans fit very well in your board, and it's just a very cost-effective manner of playing the game. Okay, and the last one is if you get a Poppy. Emo Poppy is the best. You can play another Mosher. It works fine. Set's fine. Poppy's great, especially if you have tank items, or you have like mixed tank items, so like a Sterex. Let's say you have like, I don't know, a Hodge, and you have like a random like items for Steadfast or Warmogs. Any item. Poppy can pretty much take any items, and she will be a very strong frontline and supplement your Ahri very well. Poppy, I'm pretty sure, is one of the best 4-cost headliners you can find on your 4-2 roll down. Yeah, if you're trying to play flex. Okay, the forest line are Crowd Diver edgelords, and I want to start with Katarina because she's the only AP line within the AP AP main carry within this line. And yeah, so Katarina is, you want to play her with the Superfan core. Drop Echo if you don't have, if you're on level 8 and you high roll a Kiana. If you didn't high roll a Kiana, you can play this. On 9 you want to find Kiana and then and play 6 Crowd Diver. If you're not on 9, you can play this with an R. If you are on 8, you don't have Kiana, that's what I meant, then you can play this. This is the core that you can play around. You want to dual carry the Zed. Zed needs an Edge of Night, and otherwise he just takes whatever AD items you have. Best items are probably something like Hodge and a GS. Here. So the Katarina items are JG, Hodge, Hodge. This is non-negotiable. Okay, I mean, when I say non-negotiable, you can always have the second, instead of the second Hodge, you can always have like a guard breaker or something. But she will have less pop-off potential. This allows her to have 100% crit, and also so the superfan item is Hodge, and so you want to play around it. And oftentimes in late games, you find yourself with Katarina being the only unit alive. Not the only unit alive, but the one of the last units alive after Nico, Lilia, and Echo all die. So that's why you want to have you want her to have sustain, so that you can actually she can actually pop off, and you can have the Crowd Diver bonus damage scaling every second. Yep. She will one-shot backlines. It's just that she needs to be able to cast. That's why. Okay, the next line. This is my favorite comp by far. It's Yone reroll. Yone reroll. If you have AD items, I'm actually down to play this from practically any spot. Good thing about this is that you can play around. So I'm putting Crowd Diver Chosen because it's renowned that this is the highest cap, and it is for sure. But for example, playing around Heartsteel Chosen Yone is not bad at all. You can just play 3 Heartsteel mid game. Sorry, my voice cracked. For example, with an Ezreal or with Cassante. Let's say you have a Cassante, you can drop the Echo. You can even play 5 Heartsteel. Where is it? Here. Boom. No, not boom. I suck. Here. I can play 5 Heartsteel until I find the actual better units, which is like until I find Kiana, and then I can drop and I can actually play better units, right? But like in the mid game, if I have a decent amount of HP, I can farm a lot of items, itemize my Zed, my Viego, my Kiana, even my Kayn, if I'm playing a Kayn, and then I have like 5 item carries, and at that point, yeah, sure, you don't have 6 Crowd Diver, and Yone, if you want to solo carry Yone, Crowd Diver is the best, right? But you're getting a lot of item and like cash injection from Crowd Divers, so you probably shouldn't worry about it. Even Edgelord Yone, where's Edgelord Yone? Edgelord Yone is perfectly fine. You're playing Kayn, right? In the late game, you're playing 5 Edgelords for Crowd Diver, and yeah, this looks perfectly fine. Cassante is dropped in the late game because you don't want to, like, you could have Kiana also farming items, right? So you want to have true damage in. And yeah, this is your level 9. Pentakill, the Pentakill core of Viego, Mord, and Kale, you kind of want to play it in every single melee comp you have. It's so cost effective. Problem nowadays is that Viego is very contested, so you might not be able to 2-star him. However, if you 2-star him before Mordekaiser, then you actually might even want to give him the Even Shroud, the Sunfires, or even the Morellos of the world. And yeah, have him as your tank carry, because he'll survive longer than the Mordekaiser will. Yeah. Yone items, you want IE, a healing item. Hodge is the best. BT can be... BT is okay, Gunblade's okay, but I would rather have BT or Hodge if you want to main carry your Yone. For example, if you don't have like a Kiana 2, Kane 2, Z2, then your Gunblade Yone is probably not going to win out the lobby. This Titans is a very good item. Titans Hodge IE is the best build, but you can play around. Other things can be determining factor into you playing. For example, if you have a into you playing Yone. For example, if you have a Death Defiance, and you have a Titan sitting on bench, then you might say, okay, this might be a Yone game, and you can play Yone. Yone, you roll on 7 for a headliner, and yeah, you practically take any of the headliners. If you are very high HP and you have a lot of gold, then you can greed and you can go for the Crowd Diver headliner. But otherwise, oh yeah, even if you are high HP, actually I'm pretty sure Heart Seal headliner Yone is BIS, because you can farm quite a bit of resources in stage 5, stage 4 and 5. Yeah. But yeah, focus just on having 3 items on Yone. You can always look at stats for units, like here, boom, and here you go placements. These are fake, but like for example, oh, Gunblade's fine, right? GS is fine, but yeah, it's like IE, Hodge, Titanics is all okay as well, but yeah, it's kind of like that. Sorry, I know I'm not perfectly making sense. Okay, yeah, you want to be looking at adjusted placement instead of place. But yeah, BT Hodge is okay, IE is good, Titans is good, Titanic is also good, Death Defiance is fine, especially if you have Titans. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, you probably should be looking around stats by yourself and opening it up to see what you can slam. Another line that you can play, if you're going Yone, it uses very similar items. You're slamming bruiser items, and you want to go level 7 reroll, and you find a 8-bit Riven. So either you find an 8-bit Riven or you get an 8-bit spat, then you might want to think about pivoting into this board. Once again, you're playing into the Viego Mord. Okay, so let me just take out the other units. So this is the main board. You're once again playing around the Kale, Viego, Mord, Pentakill core, and you have Riven. So Riven items are pretty much non-negotiable. QSS, GS, and then a healing item. BT is by far the best. Hodge is okay if you have Idealism, for example. If you have Idealism, you want to carry Viego, Riven, and where's Riven now? Man, and Caitlyn. So let's say you drop the Deathblade for another Hodge, right? Where's Hodge? Boom. Boom. And boom. Sorry, I messed up here. Okay. Yeah, you can play around this. And if you have 8-bit spat, then this comp becomes SSS tier. Because you can play around... Boom. You can play around 6 8-bit, which is a very, very, very overpowered trait. And it almost makes Caitlyn look like a real unit. Okay, that's going too far. It makes Caitlyn look like something better than a 4-cost unit. Yep. Otherwise, you itemize Viego as a secondary carry. You itemize what from Viego or Caitlyn, whichever you 2-star first. Yeah. But yeah, the full. So you can see this only has 7 units. You can play whatever you want with it. I personally like at level 7 to play around having Jazz, because you actually have quite a few units. 7, you actually have quite a few traits, 7 traits to be exact, and so you get like the Jazz buff on your Riven, which is I mean quite good, you know. It's like what? It's like a 10% health buff and like a 7% damage buff, right? So you have a 3-star Riven, so that's actually quite a lot of damage. If you don't have 6 8-bit, so let's say you don't have 6 8-bit, then you can play around this comp. For example, if you have long distance pals, because long distance pals will share the 8-bit. Where's long distance pals? It will share the 8-bit the 8-bit stacking with Caitlyn and between Caitlyn and Riven, and so it's pretty much as if you had 6 8-bit. I mean, it's a bit less, but it's like very close to you having 6 8-bits. You playing around 6 8-bit. Why I'm positioning like this is because you want more to get most of the aggro early, and then you want to go like boom. But once you get 3-star, then you can actually like corner her like this. But it just depends on the matchup, and you want to play intelligently right in the end. So yeah, I am waffling a lot, but yeah, your max cap is probably something like sharing between Viego and Riven is probably the best. But you can play something like this. If it screws over your positioning, you can play with Caitlyn and Riven LDP, for example. And yeah, you want to have your Jazz core. Boom. Okay. Next composition in the crowd diver, in what I call the crowd diver edgelord flex, is Yasuo reroll. You want to go Yasuo reroll if you have you want to hit Yasuo very early. That's what I want to say first. You don't want to play Yasuo reroll if you just simply hit a true damage Yasuo on 2-1 and you have like 1 Yasuo on your bench and you're like, oh, bet I have 4 Yasuos, I'm playing Yasuo. That's not how it works. If you have 4 Yasuos without the Yasuo headliner, then you can play it, because you want to hit it in stage 2 or 3-1 at the latest, and that means you need to have a metric shit ton of Yasuos. If you're not finding Yasuo by 3-1, then just give up on the Yasuo. Don't roll down. Like if you don't have like 8 Yasuos on 3-1, let's say, don't roll down on 3-1. That will just screw up your econ, and just play around. Like swap these items off of Yasuo onto Akali, and just play around like true damage, or pivot into any other comp. Like you can go for Viego Karthus. I don't like that comp, which is like, I don't like playing that comp. It's a good comp. I won't say otherwise. I don't like playing it, so that's why I don't have it in my lines. But you can play other stuff. But yeah, just switch out of Yasuo in that case. So for Yasuo items, first of all, 3 Yasuos, 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 3 Yasu Yasuo, you want to only play around true damage headliner. 6 true damage is what allows him to scale to late game. So yeah. Edge of Night is non-negotiable. You need a healing items, Hodge, BT, perfectly fine. And GS, once again, was something that allows him to scale to late game. So once again, you're playing for the Mord, Viego, Kayle, Pentakill setup, and then you're going for true damage units. Until you find Kiana, Senna's fine. But you see, to fit your board, you need to be 9. Until you're 9, you can drop these, for example. You have 4. This is like this is your like Omega ideal line, right? But you can play like around super fans. Like let's say you don't have these, you can play like this, and then you play around super fan early game, right? Like you can play like this, and GS is like a later game slam, so you're just playing the super fan item, right? And this is okay. This is a perfectly good board. I mean, if this is like a level 8 board, if like you don't even want to roll on level 8 for in this comp, so except if you're getting outscaled and you need a secondary carry, in which case you want to roll until you find an Akali 2 or a Viego 2 that you itemize and as your secondary carry, right? But yeah, so it's Edge of Night, healing item, and a GS. And yeah. And then you want to play true damage units. Boom. Boom. Also, I prefer Kennen over Senna, because Senna, sure, she deals damage, but she doesn't deal that much damage with without items or without being 3-star, and without being 3-star. So I value Kennen's stun more. Dot. But yeah, this is the board. And on 9, because let's say, I mean, you're probably gonna hit Kiana on 9, not on 8. On 9, you can play like another carry if you have how do you call it? If you have the gold 2. Otherwise, you can play a random Vex for the CC, plus giving Executioner to your Akali, who is probably going to be your secondary carry, etc. Yep. But yeah, True Damage Yasuo is a 1-cost reroll, so once again, you roll on 4, and yeah. It's a really good line, but you only want to play it if you are already hitting a lot of Yasuos. I rarely do this for other comps, but I'm actually down to play for so you want to like have Yasuo killing units very early on, because his passive is getting AD per kill, right? So for example, the Edge of Night, it's rare, but I'm down to play for the Idealism. Where's Idealism? Where's Idealism? Idealism is fine. Not Today is fine. As long as you can like 3-item the Yasuo, this is very good. Okay. Sorry, my mom said it's dinner, so I'm gonna try to wrap it up very fast. So the final main line are the Vex lines, or the Executioner lines, or whatever you want to call them. So this is 6 Executioner Vex, and the only things that matter are Vex 3 and Amumu 3. Your front line is pretty much non-existent otherwise. I mean, other than this Amumu and Vex. Executioner gives so much damage that it doesn't matter if you don't have a front line. This is a level 7 reroll because it's a 3-cost reroll. And you want to give her any of the AP items you have. Yeah. And Amumu any of the tank items you have. I don't know why I headlinered the Twitch. Boom. Okay. And yeah, you just play around. So this, you can play to 3-star the Samira, and you can give her the 80 items. If you're not 3-starring the Samira and you're finding more bruisery items, then you can play around the Akali as your main carry. You probably want to switch over to the true damage Akali, except if you have a lot of items on Karthus, in which case you have a lot of AP items, so you're also itemizing Karthus, in which case you might want to play the KDA Akali instead, so that he can snipe the backline. Yeah. The best spat you can get in this comp is Emo's spat, Karthus. And so on 8, you can just play the Poppy, and that makes your frontline even better. And you have an Emo Karthus, which is going to be infinitely ulting. Yeah. This comp is broken, probably the most broken comp in the patch. However, it is very contested. So scout around, see if you can play it. And yeah. It's not forceable every single game, is what I mean from it. So another Vex comp is the not Double Trouble, Twin Terror. Double Trouble is the name of the augment that resembles Twin Terror in the last set. So yeah, that's why I almost called it Double Trouble. Twin Terror Vex Twitch, and Twin Terror Vex Twitch. So you play 2 Twitches, 2 Vexes, 2 Amumus. Oh, this might be why I headlinered the Twitch. You want to play around headliner Twitch because you are likely to 3-star it before the Vex in early game, and you can not tempo, but you can steamroll stage 3 and 4 with it. The Vex is probably going to be very contested. Not very, but like it will probably be contested. For example, there might be a country player, there might be a 6 executioner player, etc. So you want to wait for them to die out, and so that's why you want to play around the Twitch first and foremost. You just put any AD item on Twitch, any AP item on Vex, any tank item on the Mumu. You can play around 4 executioner. Until you hit level 8, you just play 3 out of 2 executioner, and yeah, you just play this board. Amumu, yeah. This is, if you have Twin Terror, this is one of the comps. Otherwise, it's the Lulu comp that you can also go. But yeah, this is one of the comps that you want to go for sure. The last comp for the Vex lines is, I still call it a Vex line because one of the caps is getting a 3-star Vex and having all the AP items on her. So the only way this comp wins out is if you get a Punk spat, but this is a perfectly good top 4 comp. So you play around a Punk Jinx, you give her so the non-negotiable item is a Last Whisper. I know a lot of people like Guinsoo, but Guinsoo gets outscaled very badly. You can slam a Guinsoo if you have it on 2-1 and you have like a Jinx chosen on 2-1, then sure, you can slam the Guinsoo so that you can streak the stage 2-3. But you will get outscaled, so I don't like it at all. Red buff is better. Like Runon's is better. Yeah, Runon's GS Last Whisper is probably BIS Jinx. So, okay. So we go back to the... then you want to play around 4 Guardians and plus Vex. So this is like the normal, I guess, the Punk board. You don't have Vi. This is like your normal-ish level 7 Punk board. If you want to re-roll for a Mumu 3, Vex 3, Nico 3, because you already have like 4 to 5 of each of them. Let's say you hit a Punk spat. Then you have 3 item carriers that you can play around. One is Caitlyn. Caitlyn is rapid fire with the Jinx. And so you can play around Caitlyn. She uses the AD very well. No surprise. And yeah, so here you just have 6 punk, 6, and then you don't have, sure you have 3 guardian, but that's fine. You're getting a lot of damage, and that's okay. Another one is you can have sorry. You can have a punk Poppy. Poppy synergizes with Vi for moshers, and since she converts bonus health into AD, she uses the AD plus she gets AD from the health, and she uses the health very well, very simply, because she gets armor and magic resist from her ability here. Hi. Sorry. Okay, I need to wrap this up very fast. Poppy is another very good item holder. And then these two are just a better Caitlyn is a Lucian. The better Yorick, better Poppy is Yorick. And with Yorick, for example, one of the ways to cap out is you can play around. Okay, so let me take these out. You drop the Nico, and I mean this is like pretty much a capped board. Boom. This is your capped level 9 punk board. Yeah. And there's not a high chance, but there's a chance you win against even the Ezreal players. If you've high rolled everything enough, you have a Yorick 2, you have a Lucian 2, you have a Jinx 2, Jinx 3, you've itemized them all, then yeah, you can win out. So I was talking about, so these are my, the 5 main lines that I like to play. I climbed like 400 LP in the last 3 streams, as you can, like the streams that you can see here. But yeah, I mean, of course, there's gonna be a few lines such as Superfan Nar, you can see it here. Pause the video if you want to see it, or Bard, Bard reroll, or Olaf reroll. But they're so how do you call it? They are so spot specific that I don't think it's worth talking about them. Maybe in another video if you guys want to see it. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you again. I need to go eat. Bye.